You're listening to Tapestry, a podcast by a music lover for music lovers. I'm your host, Kelly. Join me as I learn more about the common thread that weaves throughout our lives, music. Welcome to episode 19 of Tapestry, where I sit down today with the members of self-professed sexy Viking doom rock band Almost Honest from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We discuss such topics as how they incorporate local lore into their lyrics, the strange discoveries they've made in the towns they've toured in, and being in a band that's maybe just a little bit too friendly with one another. You're listening to Keystone, a song off their latest album, Sieges and Sirens. All three members of Almost Honest with me today on this lovely Sunday morning. We were just talking about how they got up early to do this interview with me, even though they're up early anyway because they live the dad life. So the three dads I have with me today are Shane Reed, who's the guitarist and vocalist, Seth Jackson, the bassist, and also sometimes vocalist, and then Quentin Spangler, the drummer. So for the audience's ease as well, why don't you guys go around again and just please say your names so you can kind of get your voices associated with your names.
Hello, I'm Shane Reed, and this is what my voice sounds like.
I'm Quentin, and I have an absolutely gorgeous voice, but I'm here.
And I'm Seth. I also have a voice.
Good. Glad to hear it. So, okay, so you guys make up Almost Honest, and it was a pleasure to see you guys live at Black Forest Coffee House, and that's pretty much what got this interview happening. Why don't you just tell me a little bit about, I guess, kind of what Almost Honest is, how long you guys have been playing together, and just sort of your individual musical backgrounds.
Well, Almost Honest is a groovy, sexy Viking funk doom rock band. How long have we been playing?
The three of us. Yeah, well, I joined in 2013, so the three of us have been together since then.
Yeah. So it's been a while. We started as a terrible high school band that didn't know what they were doing or what they wanted to play.
Awful high school band.
Oh yeah, mind you, don't try and look up our old stuff, please.
Like a bad one.
Definitely don't do that.
Yeah, don't. So we just kind of progressed from there, just not really knowing what we wanted, and it just turned into this.
I find that surprising because when you guys come out and say that you're a groovy, sexy Viking funk doom rock band, to me, you kind of need to know that you're going to be that beforehand. So that's a surprising answer.
Well, that happened like over time, kind of. It just sort of like every once in a while we'd add a new adjective, like, oh, that's funky, like, oh, nice, oh, that's groovy.
Well, it makes sense. I actually I did have that in my notes, but I was cutting my grass the other day and I listened to your latest album just while I have a huge
mowing
yard.
The lawn.
Yeah, I hate cutting my grass. I have a huge yard, and so honestly, it was a whole album's worth. So,
oh geez,
I was sitting there like, oh, you know what these guys actually sound like to me? Like Mastodon had a baby with Tenacious D.
Oh, I love that.
Right,
we've never gotten Tenacious D before. Thank you.
Well, I think it was listening to Dancing Shaman and the Psychedelic Cactus, which I will have to ask further details on later in the interview. But it was definitely just kind of that like wacky brand of, comedic but talented sort of shtick, and I love it. So I just figured you guys maybe like, did you all go to high school together, or were you childhood friends or something?
Well, kind of. So me and the bass player, Seth, we've known each other since kindergarten. And then around middle school, I went to a different school. We remained friends. And then in high school, that's where I met Quentin.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are like high school friends, but it's in a different way. Like it wasn't all the same school.
Right. And you guys are out in New Cumberland, right? Which is that basically just a suburb of Harrisburg, PA?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
right outside.
Okay,
but
so you're kinda out there.
Seth actually lives in Slippery Rock.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm up north of you right now.
Oh, yeah, you are. Wow. So
Mhm.
how far is that distance for you guys? It's like 2.5
it's 4 hours
hours
away.
4 hours. Holy crap.
Yeah.
We make it work.
We make it work.
Do you guys have like a rehearsal space in between there, or do you just hey, let's go practice in the parking lot between Slippery Rock and Harrisburg? That sounds good.
I'd love to say we practice.
I play through my stuff all by myself, all of our recorded material. I practice. I don't know about you guys, but I'm keeping up with it.
Here's the thing. We do practice, just not together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So every live show is just a really far away practice.
pretty much.
There's liberty you can take with funky, groovy stoner
Right.
stuff, and like you guys didn't sound like you didn't have your shit together, is what I'm trying to say. So.
If we were a tech metal band, obviously that wouldn't work. Like every
See,
precise,
yeah.
but-
Quentin got what I was saying, right?
Yeah.
So,
Wait till you hear our Animals as Leaders cover.
so I think it's funny you mentioned that, Quentin. Are you guys inspired by technical death metal at all? Because I don't hear it in your sound, and I know you gave me some of your influences. They're kind of your, I don't want to say standard, but they're recognizable names to anybody who likes doom metal, sludge, that sort of thing. You know, Baroness, Crowbot, Red Fang, Clutch, Mastodon, those sorts of things. But what else do you guys like to listen to?
I mean, I think we do all have our own influences, and we all come from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, the thing I listen to the most right now is probably like Clutch, and I love Mutoid Man.
Oh, they're
I've
great.
really gotten into them. They are like phenomenal, and obviously Mastodon, stuff like that. But it kind of like evolved over time. You know, in middle school, it's just kind of like listening to Nirvana and Modest Mouse, and trying to think about like Alice in Chains, Soundgarden.
Okay, so all that post grunge stuff.
Yeah.
You guys are what, in your 20s? I'm gonna
Yeah.
say. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're
20.
close in age. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
I think you guys are much younger than me, but similar grouping of stuff that I listen to also.
Yeah.
And we all have bands that we like, that we listen to on our own as well. Like I was just showing Shane and Quentin like a couple of months ago, like a couple of bands that I listened to that they'd never heard of before, like Mo and like some of the older like Cake albums and stuff like that. And, like I always try to put that stuff into my bass lines, and I know Quentin does that with like the bands that like he only listens to with drums.
Yeah.
Shane too with his like his technique with guitar playing.
It's funny because I was like watching you guys. Now I guess I'm a little biased. I was mostly watching Quentin because I'm also a drummer, but
Oh yeah.
I was trying to
We
figure
were
it
watching Quentin too. It's okay.
Yeah, I know it got really hot in there and you had to take your shirt off at some point. It was like disgusting. It just like AC, no fan. I was just like, oh, I feel for you, dude. I'm so sorry. No, I was trying to like figure out you guys as I listened because there's a lot of stuff going on.
So, well, I would say it is interesting for the drumming aspect of things. I actually, doom was not something I ever listened to.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually introduced to that stuff by these guys, like more recent. Like I started listening to Clutch like a year ago.
Oh wow!
Like not, I metal, none of that I was super into. I listened to a lot of alternative music. Like I loved the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and probably one of my favorite bands of all time. I love things like the Arctic Monkeys, sometimes the Strokes, things like that. So I listen to a lot of alternative stuff. So I try to translate some of that into what I play in doom rock.
Well, I think that's what gives you guys a little bit of an edge up on what I would say kind of standard stoner doom. Like, I hate to say it, but there is sort of a trope in that style of music to just,
Yes.
everything from the aesthetics of the band to the names and the goofiness and kind of the tongue-in-cheek, like, oh, okay, we're just gonna play pentatonic riffs over this song about blaze it, 420 blaze it. Like it's
weed in the mountains.
It was just going to be in front of a green screen.
Yeah, like I forget who I was talking to about it, but I said something like, "Oh, I found this." It wasn't you guys in particular, but it was some other like stoner doom band I found, and I'm like, "Yeah, they're really good," and blah blah blah. And he kind of cut in and went, "If every single one of their lyrics isn't hashtag 420 blaze it, guess what? I smoke weed. I don't want to listen to it." And I'm like, "Well, then you're missing out because there's a lot of." There's a lot of bands that do what you guys are doing, but I think you're sort of taking it to a different... You're not just sticking to how much can I talk about smoking weed and play the same rehashed riffs over and over again. So, that being said...
we don't necessarily have, like, a go-to genre. Like, when we write songs, we aren't thinking, like, this needs to sound like a stoner rock song or whatever. Like, we just kind of play whatever we want, and I feel that we kind of fit in with the stoner rock crowd more than other things. But I mean, we could probably get away with playing with other bands of different genres.
Yeah, Shane, I think you had told me after the show, didn't you guys open for Revocation?
Yep, it was Revocation, Cannabis Corpse, Archspire, and Blackfast.
What the hell is that lineup? That's strange, but
yep.
And
it was great.
Yeah, didn't you tell me the crowd was like, I don't know what to do here?
Yeah, like when we played, I mean, most of the bands were, like technical death metal.
Right.
So we opened and the crowd just like, what is this?
Why is this
like,
so groovy? Oh,
like,
not enough notes per minute. So
yeah.
Well, hey, it's good to be versatile, but at the same time, I mean, you kind of want to book a show that fits. But no, I would agree with that. I think you guys are way more than like just a stoner doom band. And I realize I'm saying all this, and like I actually haven't had any doom metal bands on my show yet, and so somebody out there might be going, "Huh, what is doom metal? What is stoner metal?" So like, how would you guys kind of describe those genres?
Just take like alternative rock from the 90s and make it a little heavier.
Yeah, that's fair. Kind
Maybe
of.
throw some weed in there a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, or like if you've got a cool technical riff, just change it to where it's groovy and slow, and that's a lot of like doom rock.
I think that's pretty accurate. Because I always try to describe it myself, and I'm like, I know what it sounds like. Like, you know it when you hear it, but it's hard to put into words what that sound is. So you guys said you just like to basically write whatever you feel like writing. And now that I know that your bassist is not even in the same room as you most of the time, like, what's a typical writing session look like?
Well, I think for the first one, the EP, The Prophets of Doom, with that one, it was definitely like we were just a high school band, and it's just like, let's just record what we have. So the writing process for that was, I believe for those songs, I wrote them. I think I wrote all of those ones.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you wrote like all of those ones, like the whole structure and everything.
Yeah.
So that was like no like input at all, and we just kind of went and recorded it. Then for the next one, Thundermouth, we really wanted to start having input. So that's where Seth really helped me with Thundermouth, and so did Quentin. Like, just everyone came together and started writing more. And then with Seaches and Sirens, our newest one, that had more collaboration on it than any previous thing, and I think that was definitely for the best. Mm-hmm. It's usually one of us comes in with an idea, and we work on that. Like with Stonecutter, Quentin wrote that, and he literally just had drums written.
Drums and vocals. Like I had a
Oh.
structure. I had drum parts. I had vocals written, but I can't play the guitar or anything really at all yet. So I was like, I have this song, if you want to call it that, but like I need a riff, I need a bass line, but this is the structure, these are the lyrics, and it kind of goes like that. A lot of times Shane comes in with a riff and he says, "Hey, I have this riff."
That's what
not
happened
really a
with
song
Keystone.
yet. Yeah.
Shane just started playing the intro riff to Keystone, and like he just played through it a couple times, and me and Quentin just came in with something that felt right, and it worked.
That's usually what we do, honestly.
Yeah.
And then we just decided on a chorus riff right then, and was like, okay, we'll just follow it with this, and so on and so forth.
So that just sort of like organically evolved like from start to finish, I guess.
Yeah, and like Seth wrote Interstellar Executive. He just came in with the bass lines. He kind of had an idea for a guitar and told me, like, he showed me what to play with some parts and kind of told me ideas, and we just went with it. I feel like when you're writing music, the best thing to do is kind of play what comes naturally. Obviously, think about it a little bit, but I feel like if you think about it too much and you start to play what doesn't come naturally, the song sounds weird.
Yeah, and 90% of like the bridges and things like that, a lot of times are just, we were like, okay, well, we feel a bridge here, and whatever the first thing, like maybe the first riff Shane came up with, a lot of times ends up being what it is.
That's interesting. I mean, I said this last episode, and I'm probably going to say it every episode, and maybe by the time I'm to, like, my 700th episode, I'll have a song written, but this is just episode 19, so I have a long way to go. But I always say, I don't know how to write music, and then I talk to all the people I have on my show, and every single person does it a little differently. There's really no wrong way to do it. You just kind of come in with, hey, this is what is living in my brain, and I kind of want to share it with other people, and then you collaborate on it, and it ends up flourishing.
Yeah, the best way to do it is just do it. Don't even think about, like, a chorus needs to go here, this needs to happen. Just kind of, we just play what comes naturally, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, and I think it's important too. What helps us a lot is we're lucky. We've been together for so long. So we do have a chemistry. We kind of know how each person plays. We know a lot about their skill set, what they bring to the table. But also on a personal level, when we get together, when we go on these long car rides, when we travel, we go places, we are like-minded people as well. We have a lot of fun together. We don't really bicker about things. We have a lot of similar interests. When we go on tour, some bands might conflict. Some guys are like, oh, well, we just want to hang around the hotel, or we want to do this, but we always want to go out. We want to do stuff. So we have a lot of similar interests. We're all friends, and we've been together a long time. So when you have that kind of recipe, just throwing together a song is a lot easier than if you're just kind of, three random guys from high school or something like that.
Right. That's going to be my new reality show, is get three people who all hate each other and then force them to write a record together.
You mean Metallica?
Please,
yeah.
That just
that happens so much.
You mean Metallica.
Now cut to some kind of monster.
Yeah. No, that's really fair, though, because I can tell you guys are bros, you have a lot of energy on stage, and like, actually, again, sorry, Quentin, I'm not being a creep when I say this, but I was watching you most of the show, because you were, you play with a lot of energy, and you were just, your drum parts are great, so I was just like figuring it out, and I kept like watching Shane, and you guys like kind of like exchange glances, and you like look across the stage and stuff, and like I love when bands do that, because it's like, wow, they actually like each other, they're actually having fun. You're paying attention to what one another's doing, and right. That is important to your overall sound. I think it's not some flat, drab bullshit. There's a lot of fun going into what you guys do. So that being said, I do want to get to the bottom of, what makes you guys write the songs you do? I know you said you just come up with an idea musically and you show up and you piece it all together, but the topics of your music, you touch on everything from mythology to like actual real life stuff, but there's a lot of like really strong visual imagery, like, Interstellar Executive is real goofy, and the Call the Mothman, Appalachian Sasquatch, all of these crazy songs. Like, what makes you guys want to use music as the language for discussing those topics?
Well, I mean, the main thing is we just like to have fun. I feel like, we do have some songs that are more on the serious side, like Keystone. But for the most part, I think there's so many bands that are just, playing music of how like they feel in everyday life, like sadness and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I listen to stuff like that. But I feel like we just like to have fun. Yeah. And we want to write lyrics that are just fun and that no one has written before. Like, we could write another song about, being sad or something, or,
politics, love.
Or we could write a song about, Bigfoot and stuff.
Why not?
Yeah, I think I was talking to you, Shane, one time, and you said to try to make it difficult for the audience to decipher what's just wacky nonsense and what's actually emotional content.
Yeah, because
what's actually like in touch emotional lyrics that you have to get out, and what's just like weird. Hey, this is a song about an alien that eats people.
Which, by the way, that's coming.
Oh, really?
Yep, Seth's working on it right now.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm excited about it. Well, like I said, I was listening to you guys while I was cutting my grass, and so you really have nothing to do other than, listen to the music and mow in a straight line. So I'm just like trying to pick up as much as I could, and it really did kind of stick with me how much there are some deeper meanings, but I appreciate that you guys can just be goofy about it, because I don't listen to the radio. I just really don't. I go find the music that suits what I want to listen to at the time, and so it's nice to not just like go into an album expecting hey, I'm really sad and I want to listen to sad stuff to manage my sadness, and then I come out with a song about psychedelic cactuses.
Yeah, because honestly, too, like, if you're sad, like, how can you be sad when you listen to stuff like that? I mean, but also with that song, like, we had a really crazy idea with it. I mean, yeah, it is about a prisoner being drugged to the desert, and he starts to hallucinate just because, he's doesn't have enough water and food and everything. But we thought it'd be cool if the person singing the song, so like not us, like a separate person singing this song, forgot they were singing a song, and in the middle of the song they went into like an existential crisis. So that's what that's all about. Like, it's just, we thought it'd be funny if a person, playing the song just forgot they were playing a song and just panicked, and then they snap back into it and finish the song.
When you guys perform that live, do you always jump off the stage and deliver your little monologue about how existence is meaningless? Like, is it different every time?
It is different every time. Like, we didn't used to do that. I had the idea to do it once, and I love doing it now. But sometimes it's
allows.
Yeah, sometimes it's tough because sometimes they wrap the cord around the mic, and I'll put the guitar down now, and I will like still rant and stuff. But I'd love to go out into the crowd every time if I could.
That really, and granted, I mean, the venue I saw you guys in was like 12 feet wide. It was like really small. There wasn't a lot of room to move, but whenever you kind of like stepped out into the crowd and just started ranting, I'm like, what is happening right now? Like,
yep, that's what we wanted.
That pretty much sums up Almost Honest right there, I think.
Yes.
What is happening?
yeah, what is happening? Nihilistic monologues about everything. Actually, can you tell me what the story is behind Jenny Greenteeth?
Oh, okay. So we like writing a lot about Pennsylvania folklore and mythology, because people do mythology a lot, but it's always like, Greek and, Norse and everything. But we like to do local. So Jenny Greenteeth is actually about a siren on Lake Erie who, supposedly swallowed sailors and brought them to her saffron cave under the lake. I just read up on it, and I really enjoy what I read, and I wanted to make a song about it.
Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, that's like each album you guys have written, it's gone from here's a bunch of songs with some riffs about a topic, and then I really think your latest album has kind of blossomed into like the most mature version of what all you guys can do, because I have listened to them all, and I really think Sieges and Sirens gets all those sounds and all of those ideas into a really nice package. But I just wasn't sure about that, because you do have the song about the Mothman on there. Are you gonna try to inject those more local ideas onto the next album too?
Oh, heck yeah. You have no idea what's coming.
Well, what's coming? Like what juicy details can you give me about what's next for Almost Honest?
We can give you whatever, because honestly, it probably won't come out for another 1.5 or 2 years. But
you're gonna forget by the time it comes out anyway.
Yep, no.
We're writing a song about a goblin monk in Easton, Pennsylvania, which that's another myth that I found that I love. Writing a song about alien spiders. Which pretty neat.
That's a story me and Shane came up with in about 5th grade. Whenever Shane first got a guitar, he, I think, stole the riff from a Korn song.
It was "Freak on a Leash."
God.
stole the riff from Freak on a Leash and was like, dude, I wrote a song, check it out. And we were like, 12. And the
that's
lyrics
just Freak
were,
on a Leash.
yeah, the lyrics were alien spiders coming to get you, bite your head off, make a web. And then like they popped up in my like Facebook memories a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, oh shit, I know what I have to do. I have to make Alien Spiders an actual song. So that's like lore that we like that like we came up with ourselves, which I think is always good to try to not like copy folklore, but also like elaborate on local folklore to come up with your own stories.
Yeah, so back up a step. Goblin monks in Easton, PA. Is that what
Yes.
I heard? Okay, and I've been to Easton, I think, because isn't that where the Crayola factory is?
I believe so.
Okay, so that's making it sound like a lot more interesting of a place than it probably is. But what's the local lore there?
So basically, there was a monk who used to live there, and he would like nickel and dime people all over town, and basically like, he blackmailed them. So this monk would blackmail people because he'd know their deepest, darkest secrets because they go to confession.
Oh.
And, he basically like, pay me or I'm going to tell everyone. So everyone found out, and then they go to hang him. And when they hung him, he died, but then they said that his eyes popped open and they were bright yellow and horns sprouted from his head. He turned into a goblin and ran into the woods. And then every night he'd go out and just eat people.
Nice. That's awesome. I just like, oh my God, that's okay. I'm just like processing this. I'll have to put you guys in touch somehow with
Crayola?
No. There's a guy who they have a podcast called Mouthboys, and it's all about cryptids pretty much, but they're like always searching for really weird little local legends and like lesser known regional weird creatures. So maybe you guys can collaborate somehow, and they can give you like all kinds of bizarre, weird, strange topics for your next album or something. I'll have to ask them and see if they've ever heard of the Goblin Monk of Easton, PA.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I feel like you guys would have a lot to talk about. But I think it was Quentin who said, like, Shane, you started playing guitar in like 5th grade or something, right? Did you guys all start playing your instruments that you play now at an early age, or did you play other stuff before and then you kind of gravitated towards more rock instruments?
Well, when I started playing an instrument, I started in 4th grade and I played the trombone.
Yes, me too.
I hated it.
Oh.
But I played it all through elementary school and into middle school because there were like 16 people who wanted to play the drums and hit stuff and like 4 people who wanted to play a trombone. So my band director was like, please do not switch. So I basically just banged on a kid's drum kit in my garage and played the trombone, stuck it out until about 7th grade. And I finally started playing the drums. I actually just started rudimentary stuff for like marching band and stuff. I did 5 years of marching band. When I started, I didn't even want to play the drum set really. Like my teacher was like, hey, do you want to start doing some lessons on the drum set? I was like, yeah, that'd be cool, I guess. That might be fun. And I can't tell you how much I've loved it.
Were you doing mostly like marching snare, or did you do quads or something too?
I was actually a bass drummer, which adds an interesting effect because, I got good at splitting things and playing on upbeats, things like that, which was pretty fun. But yeah, I started marching like that. And then I started learning just classic rock songs. I think that's what most drum kit drummers start to learn. And then it kind of evolved from there. Like I said, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Chad Smith was like, I just worshipped him, as a drummer, and kind of just went from there.
Okay. That's so weird. I don't meet too many other trombone drummer combos, so.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, I can still play an elementary school song on the trombone.
Excellent.
Called Red Mill Blues.
I'm expecting that on the next album.
Can I just say that Quentin is a great drummer?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Aww.
What I really like about his drumming is that he doesn't just play a beat. Like, he actually tries to write drum parts, and I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I can agree. From just a merely fan perspective, there's some really tight stuff going on there, and it's really fun to listen to. So maybe your tromboning somehow affected that. I don't know.
Maybe
You've transcended
butterfly
because of
effect.
the trombone.
Well, for me, it's not as cool. In fact, it's pretty lame. So, Guitar Hero was very popular.
Me? Oh, okay, I already know where this is going. I want to hear the whole story.
And man,
Guitar Hero's one hell of a drug.
I played a ton of Guitar Hero, and when I was like, blowing through Expert, and once I got to Expert, I'm just like, I need more. And then I got a real guitar and sucked for a long time.
That's the typical pattern of behavior that I hear a lot, because my boyfriend told me that too. He's like, yeah, you can get really good at Guitar Hero guitar, and then you pick up a real guitar and your fingers are like, what the fuck do I do now? I don't have buttons to hit.
That's so funny. Rock Band on drums is the opposite.
Yeah,
like,
that's how I started playing drums.
I can play, because they'll play, I don't know, they'll have like an AC/DC song, which you could play in real life in your sleep,
Right.
if you had one arm and were, I don't even know. But but then I turn it on like hard mode on Rock Band, and all of a sudden I can't even play it. Like I can't, I'm like, I can play the song perfectly in real life.
Yep, it's true. So Guitar Hero was your gateway drug.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't really play any other. I mean, I play bass, but I'm not going to say I play bass because I play bass as a guitar player playing bass, not a bass player, because there is a difference.
Right, and I don't always understand that because I don't play guitar or bass myself. I mean, I understand the functionality is similar, obviously, but you have different number of strings, different technique, that sort of thing. And I think the people who can play both and play both really proficiently are crazy, to be honest. But
yep.
So yeah, like obviously me and Shane have been like best friends since kindergarten. So I played just as much Guitar Hero as he did. And around the time I think he got his first guitar, I was like, oh man, I want to learn an actual one. Shane can play the actual guitar. I'm jealous. I went to my basement. Like in my basement, I just found like one of my older brothers or like my dad's like acoustic guitar that hadn't been touched in years. And I was like, oh crap, this is an actual instrument. So I just restarted it and just like started really sucking. Like the first song I knew how to play was like Come As You Are by Nirvana, and I couldn't even play that right. And I remember me and Shane were both learning guitar, and he was like, hey dude, maybe guitar's just not the instrument. And I was like,
thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, dude. Well, that kind of stung, but I was like, yeah, maybe I'm not good at guitar. And like I started really thinking about it and thinking about the bands that I listened to, which at the time were all like, quote unquote gateway bands like the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Nirvana and all that. And I realized that like the bands that I listen to, and the songs that I like because the bass lines are really crazy. Like, Flea obviously knows how to do some pretty nasty shit. And I was like, maybe I should try a bass. It's got less strings anyway, so it's easier, right? And that's not the case. But I decided that I really liked playing bass because you could get a little bit more groovy, or if you felt like it, you could just be the thing that holds everybody together and just be the
phenomenal.
It's just because your hands are too big. That's why you couldn't play guitar.
I've got big man monster hands. Like
Okay.
there are string instruments I can't play. Like I've tried to play the mandolin and it's not gonna happen.
What made you want to try the mandolin? And well, I think those have really thin strings, don't they?
It's disgusting. Yeah, they have two tiny strings right next to each other for every one string that like a normal string instrument would have. So it's really cool and really pretty, but like, man, you gotta really be precise. Like after learning guitar and after learning bass, I kind of fallen in love with string instruments. Like anytime I get to pick up like literally any string instrument, I kind of try to make a connection with it. Like the one time I was at my brother's house and he just had a banjo, and I just kind of figured out some Modest Mouse banjo parts on the banjo, and I was like, oh shit, I need a banjo all of a sudden. And like,
Banjo's going to be on the next album, by the way.
Awesome. This is
Yeah,
great.
yeah. Don't worry,
Trombone,
I'll
banjo,
buy a banjo. But yeah, that happened with like ukulele and everything too, and mandolin I tried. And so like I just really have a thing for string instruments. It's just I like the bass the most because I feel like I can express myself the most through it by you can write bass lines that are just stupid sounding. Like they just sound really dumb, but people really like them. Like that's basically the whole reason why we have that spoken section in Psychedelic Cactus, because like the bass line that I played there, like I remember whenever we were still writing that song, like Shane and Quentin were like, wait, what are you playing? And I just played it by itself for a second, and they were like, we're going to have a whole section where it's just that, and we're going to come up with some crazy goofy shit to go over just that. And, yeah, and like I just get to express myself by being a big dumb idiot on a big dumb instrument. and people think it sounds good. Yeah, people think it sounds good, which I enjoy.
If you can be heard at all, which is always my big sad, because I love bass. I love crazy bass lines, and then I go to a show and you can't even freaking hear the bass player.
We try to turn it up. Like on our album, bass is literally, you're going to hear it just as well as guitar, because it's just that
most
important.
Songs. Especially as a three-piece, it's needed.
We tell sound designers to keep it equal if possible, because I can't stand whenever a bass line is really good and it just gets buried and lost.
Right. Or the opposite. I'm like, when I was in Toronto last weekend, God bless my mom. My mom came with me to see Animals as Leaders because
oh my God.
I had bought her a ticket, and it was like a Mother's Day weekend thing anyway. And I was like, look, I said, I'll buy you a ticket. I know this is not what you're into. Last chance to back out. Like, you can stay at the hotel. I'll get you an Uber and I'll go by myself and hang with my friends. And she's like, no, I'm down for anything. And so she ended up seeing The Contortionist, Moontooth, and Animals as Leaders with me, and was standing in the back of the room. They're super nice guys and they're crazy talented. But yeah, my mom was like, holy crap. She's like, those Moontooth guys were great. They were so fun. And she's like, my only complaint was the bass in everything. She's like, the bass was just too loud. And I'm like, you never hear that. But the sound, I guess just the sound in the venue she has really sensitive ears. So it was just like a lot for her to handle. But I'm like, I wish that was the problem, because there's a lot of bands that have great bass players and you can see them putting in the work, but you can't hear them at all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Seth's bass lines are so good.
Yeah, Seth is
so important. I mean,
you guys are also like friendly towards each other. I love it. You're like, you guys are the best. You're just the best drummer. You're the best bassist.
I hate
literally, we're a little too friendly, if you know what I mean.
literally the last show we played, which was at West Side Bowl in Youngstown, Ohio. The last show we played, we were like sitting at the bar waiting for our free pizza and our free bowling. And like Shane left to go get something. And I looked at Quentin and I was like, do you ever get the feeling that everyone around you just thinks your whole band is gay? Just because we're so like nice to each other and like laugh at each other's jokes and like genuinely enjoy hanging out. I was like, I feel like everybody just thinks we're just a gay band, which
you're just a polyamorous couple that happens to play out.
Like, what? I mean, publicity, that might not be a bad idea. Like, yeah, we're the first. I mean, probably not the first, but we're an openly gay doom band.
Definitely not the first.
There's so many thoughts running through my head right now. Like, no, I don't mean like that. I just mean like between the reality show of forcing three shitty people who hate each other to write a record together, and then we'll have a camera follow the lives of the world's first openly gay polyamorous doom band.
It's also really weird because we're all super comfortable like with our sexuality, like Quentin just
you guys like all have, you're all either engaged or
and,
we've been with the same people for years.
I just got engaged last December.
Like I'm in the shortest relationship in this band, and we've been together for like 5 years and a couple of months.
Oh wow! So all
Yeah.
I mean, so all of your partners are just like, yeah, that's fine. I'm second fiddle to the rest of the band. It's okay.
Yep.
They know where our true love lies with each other, and they will all come second. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I love it. I can feel the love. So going back to that West Side Bowl or whatever. I know Shane, you had told me that that's where you guys were headed, and like me personally, I love seeing shows in those little tiny ass venues. They're just the most fun. I saw a show at a concert venue / bowling alley too. It wasn't that one. I'll have to check it out. But what's the best part about playing? Well, what's the best part about playing out for you guys in general? And then like, what are your favorite places to play at?
Just the whole experience. I love traveling, as I think most people do. And the cool thing about being in a band is you get to travel to places that aren't like vacation destinations. Like no one's like, oh, we're going to go to, Rochester, New York, or like Youngstown,
Certainly
Ohio.
No one's going to Youngstown, Ohio for most reasons.
But for like vacation or a road trip, like no one's doing that. So we get to see places that like, other than the people who live there, normally wouldn't get to go and see. So we love that. And then just like going and playing a show, even if it's to like 2 people and they absolutely love your stuff, like that makes the whole trip for me.
Now we've got, you've got at least one fan maybe in New York or Ohio that you didn't have before. And it's fun to get out there. And then it's fun that since we get along, we can have fun the whole time. So like we find ourselves on car rides, maybe just making stupid noises or doing things like that. And which is kind of interesting because I don't know how we all got together and enjoy that, but probably most other people would get in the car and think these guys are annoying idiots. And I might want to roll out of the car going 80 miles an hour.
I just want to say this story really quick before I forget. So just like we usually do stuff before we play, like we like to actually get up early-ish and travel so we can do stuff in that city. So we were playing in New London, Connecticut.
Okay.
And we found like there was an old fort there. I can't remember what it's called, but we're like, yeah, let's go. So we're walking around and Quentin sees this like little tiny doorway and he's just like, oh, let's go through it. Like, okay, so we go through it and then it's just like path that leads down to the river and it's all like grown over and everything. We're walking through it and then we get to this stone building and there's like a little hole in the bottom of it. So I reach Seth reaches his hand in because we saw a lockbox in there. And he
the one that comes up with all the dumb ideas.
Every good story starts with I reached my hand into this hole.
But he pulled out a lockbox. Oh. And we all just kind of looked at each other. He opened it, and there was a journal inside. And then he took the journal out and opened it, and it said, "Congratulations, you have completed the Thames River quest." So, like, all of us playing Skyrim and stuff, it's like we just completed a quest in real life that we didn't even know we started.
We didn't even start a quest. We just completed it.
And it had stickers that said, "I finished the Thames River quest."
And some bands, like bless them, they will, they'll go on these tours to go to these different places. And, maybe they're staying at somebody's house or a motel or something. But, we know other bands that we've played with that. Or, each day we just kind of smoke weed, play video games. We sit in the basement. It's fun, which is cool. And that's, I'm sure it's a lot of fun sometimes.
But you can do that at home.
So we like to, it's just a lot of fun to get out and travel and see places. Even if it's not a super exciting city, you can at least walk around. Like Albany, we went to. There's nothing to do in Albany.
That was a weird place.
Oh, my best friend from high school just moved to Albany, and he keeps telling me to come visit, and I'm like,
don't.
Fine.
Tell him to come visit you.
But there's some cool historic buildings, things like that. Like I'm looking at the background on my computer. It's a picture from Albany, from when we were there. And so even those places, we like to walk around a bit, at least check things out, and it's a lot of fun.
Take in the history a little bit.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm still thinking about that Thames River quest thing though. I wonder if what you guys stumbled across was like a geocache.
I have no idea, but it was great.
That's crazy. Yeah. I was hoping you were going to tell me it was a journal and like it was from an American Revolutionary War soldier from 1783 and like
that would be way cooler.
And you probably would have called off the show and just like marched directly to the local historical society to go, "Where's my royalties?" Like,
yeah, we sell it and then we can finally fund things for our band. Love money.
You guys are all pretty much DIY. You're just doing this, together. Like, you all have normal day jobs. I'm taking it. So, how do you fit this in on top of that?
Well, it's just because we love it so much. So we just have to do weekenders basically, because that's what we can do right now. Now,
Right.
we would absolutely love it to be a career, but of course doesn't every musician. But
Right.
we make it work. So we just have our day jobs during the week. And the cool thing about all our jobs at the moment is weekends. Like, yeah, I do have to work Saturdays, but it's only till 2 if I work. Or I can, request off and just work during the week. Quentin's off during the weekends, and same thing with Seth. So, like, we actually get to go and do these weekenders. And it's not every weekend, but we try to at least go out 2 weekends a month, or at least one.
Yeah.
And go to 2 different places, support the, album. I mean, we make it work, and,
Yeah, like I'm still in school right now. Like I have one more year of college left. It's not entirely super easy,
Yeah.
but
What are you studying?
I'm basically an IT major. That's what
Okay.
I'm studying. But yeah, so like I got one more. Like I'm still there. Between school and work, it's not super easy, but because we enjoy it, we enjoy going out places. It's not a burden to try and take off or try to work around these things. If it was a burden, it wouldn't happen. So we all enjoy doing it so much. We make it work.
we all talk to each other too, like, hey, what dates will work for you? Does this work? Like, we don't want to just like book a show and be like, yeah, you gotta, take off that day exactly.
Right.
Like,
Right.
we try to work with everyone, especially with, everyone's schedules. Like, oh, I'm going out that night, whatever. I mean, we make it work. In fact, we're going on a week-long tour in June, so we're pumped about that.
Yeah, plug it.
Yeah, I know you just played like a little Doom festival in New York or something, right? Like there was some stuff in May, and then I looked at your upcoming schedule, and yeah, you guys are traveling a fair amount. You're going to Indianapolis, like Richmond, I think, right?
We'll be in Roanoke, Virginia.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
But-
you're all over the place, like doing a little Midwest run.
I put a lot of miles on my car
Yeah.
past couple years.
Well, it's
We'd
probably
like to
worth
have
it.
a van, but yet again, that's for people that make
So
money.
So I just have my water pump. Do I build a band for my car repairs, or
Yes.
just that's pretending we have money to spend? We don't.
Yeah.
That's the joke, is that we have.
Well, that's kind of the that is what I think every small artist is facing right now, unfortunately, is just we live in a weird time where, like I found you guys through Spotify, and then I came out and I saw you, and like that's kind of what every band wants, I think, is to turn listens into ticket sales and merchandise sales, but it's not going to happen with everybody just because of logistically. I mean, I was just lucky enough, I live in Pennsylvania and so do you guys, so you made it out here, but has that been a challenge to overcome, just trying to self-promote and tour and just get the word out there, and like are you seeing really any dividends from it?
It absolutely is a challenge. I will say now, especially with the release of Sieges and Sirens, we are making money. But when I say making money, I use that very loosely. I mean, we aren't like having to, use a lot of our own money for stuff. Like, most
Good.
time when we do weekenders and stuff, we'll at least, one of the shows will at least be really good to where we'll make enough money to cover some gas and food. And that's all we really want.
Right.
It's
we'll
not like a
break
gigantic
even.
money pit.
We'll break even or at least come really close to breaking even almost every show we go to now, which is a change for us, which is pretty nice.
I
Yeah.
can tell you, like when we were doing the EP and stuff, I got discouraged, man. I mean, every couple weeks, because we have to do payments on things. Just hey, dude, your share is like $200 this week again. Working a minimum wage job or something, and it's discouraging. It's hard, and it's really nice that we can at least be in a place now where if we do these things, maybe we pay for some food or whatever, but we find a way to maybe pay for just where we can sleep and pay for gas through ticket money or merch sales, and that's a big change, and it helps a lot.
So, I mean, we got to the point now where we kind of wanted, in a sense, to where it's not about money for us. Yes, it's nice, and it'd be great to make it because it's what we want. But, like, we care about the music more. And just being able to not have to worry about, oh, man, we're going out this weekend, and I'm going to have to blow, like, $200 on all this.
Right.
Like, it's just nice to know that you're not guaranteed, but you're pretty much going to be able to at least cover that. And, that's all we can ask for is in this position. And, I mean, with the release of this album, we got in some places that we never thought we'd get into. Like, we got our album reviewed in Classic Rock Magazine, which just absolutely blew my mind.
Oh, nice.
Especially since we don't even have a real record label, we made it up so we can get into these things.
I was gonna ask you about that. So Electric Talon, that's just kind of what you guys did as an indie thing, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a name we made up. It's not really anything. However, it is going to turn into something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, make it into something. I mean, hell, I can think of a handful of people who probably would want to be part of that, and I can send them your way.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah,
we're actually working on that right now.
It was just mostly the person we paid to do promotion for our album gave us that heads up. He was basically like, hey, if you're coming out as a self-release band, you're going to lose out on a lot. So we were like, okay, we'll just slap a fake record label on there. And
which makes sense.
Every review says...
Completely fronted by us record label.
Well, I was doing my research on you guys, and I'm like, I can't find any other bands on Electric Talon Records. And I'm like, is it just them?
That's because we're technically the owners, creators, and only band on that. I wouldn't call it a fake record label. I would just call it an almost honest record label.
Wow, if that is not a perfect way to describe your band name and everything you guys are about, I don't know what is. Well, no, but really though,
almost record label.
Quasi record label. Quasi honest. Oh, that's funny. No, really though,
pull our review now.
Yeah,
out of the bag, they're just gonna hire someone to rip the single page out.
But would you guys ever? So, like you said, you're working on that. Like, are you actively trying to find other smaller bands like out near Harrisburg and stuff where you do want to kind of join forces and go forth with the banner of doom metal, or like what's next for that, honestly?
Yeah, so I've actually been heavily working with his name's Stephen Burdick. He's in the band called The Stone Eye, which you should totally listen to them. They're amazing.
Really good.
Okay.
Cool guys.
But they're from Philadelphia, and I've been working heavily with him, and we've just been gathering some smaller bands to make this label legit. We'd like to have it like everything kind of out in July, basically meaning we're going to have like our own Bandcamp thing that says Electric Talon Records, have some bands under it. We're going to, do promotion for them and everything. So it's going to be a very small scale thing, but we are working on it, just getting some smaller bands that we really like that normally wouldn't get attention.
If I were to ask, like, what do you guys see for Almost Honest in the next 5 years? What would your goals be?
Oh, we have some goals.
Oh.
Okay, so one of the goals we definitely want to do is get a manager. Reason being, I've been doing everything like myself for this, which is fine, and I do enjoy it. However, I want a manager who does have a little more experience and has more contacts. I built up contacts over the years, but I mean someone who can really take this a step farther. So definitely getting a manager. We do have a pretty lofty goal of doing like a week and a half, 2 week long European tour. I know that's probably very steep, but that's still something we really want to try for. In the next 5 years, we definitely are going to do another album. In fact, we're debating whether or not to make the next album a double album, just because of all the material we're doing, like we're coming up with. And probably management, double album, hopefully Europe, more shows,
more Spotify playlists.
More Spotify playlists.
Well, I can help you with not only the Spotify playlist thing, but I also do band management, so hit me up. But
what? I came to the right person.
Yeah, to anyone
I guess you did.
listening, add us to your Spotify playlist. I don't care what kind of Spotify playlist it is. If you're listening to I don't even know, Beyonce, throw us in. It'll be a nice little surprise.
Okay, so since you're our manager now, let me just give you my social and let me just start telling you my debit card number.
Don't cut this out either.
Yeah.
Don't cut out his social security number.
Oh, wait, the CVC code.
Right. Expiration date, please. No, I think those are all fantastic goals. And I like connecting people with other bands and other areas of the internet, and that's kind of how I got into band management, because I was already doing it with prog bands, because that's kind of my primary genre of
why do you like
that
us?
I love. I listen to I listen to so many things, and I listen to anything that makes me like want to kind of bob my head and just has like a fun sound. So that's why I like you guys.
Yeah.
So no, but for real though, I can probably put you in touch with some people, and it doesn't have to be me, but no, those are all really good goals. And God, I don't know if I know anybody that could get you to Europe, but I can at least try. So
You're the best.
yeah, I try. No, what's well, actually, I think I already know the answer might be Clutch, but who would you guys like to open for? And I'm sorry I couldn't make the Clutch Pittsburgh show probably happen.
Hey, I'm just going to throw it out to everyone. If I see Clutch playing in a city and I know someone who lives in that city who plays music, I'm like, hey, you know anybody? But, yeah.
Yeah, it's Clutch. You were right.
It's Clutch.
That's what it is.
Or maybe Red Fang.
Oh,
No.
Red Fang. Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be fun.
I'd like,
Yeah.
honestly, this would be such a weird show, but I'd love to open for Gojira. Like,
That would be
man.
a blast. I don't know what the crowd would do.
yeah, we wouldn't fit, but I'd like it.
What's your favorite Gojira album, Shane?
Oh my god.
Also, you need to listen to a band called Scarred that I just had recommended to me yesterday. They sound like Gojira. They're great.
Probably
Is
from.
that just
Oh, go ahead.
sorry, go ahead, Shane.
Okay. Probably From Mars is my favorite album. Like you
Dying
put
Whales.
you put whale noises on a record, and I'm gonna be pretty into it.
Well, the technical difficulties aside, that's actually a great way to probably wrap this up. And I usually ask everybody at the end, then, if you guys each want to answer your three, you can. But what three albums, if you could only listen to those three for the rest of your life, what three albums would you choose?
Oh, dang.
Okay, I'm gonna need a second.
Yeah, we're gonna need a second. This requires some thought. Oh my god. Okay.
Sieges and Sirens, but almost all.
Yeah, Sieges and Sirens, Thundermouth, and Prophets of Doom. No, I'm just kidding. Holy crap.
Ew, liking your own band's music? Wow.
Bitch.
This is seriously, I wasn't expecting this hard of a question.
Okay,
Sorry.
I'm gonna go with one of them for me. Well, no, let me get all three first. Never mind.
That's fine. I'm thinking, because I do ask this at the end of all my episodes, I'm thinking, and this was actually my mom's suggestion, to, like, at the end of the year, make, like, a giant, not a flowchart, but, like, a giant infographic that breaks down everybody's three albums to see if there's any overlap. Because so far, I've had a couple duplicate answers, surprisingly.
Well, I'm trying to think of in terms of, like, I know what I listen to the most, but if I only had three albums, I want some variety.
I'm going for variety.
Like, what is going to be the best bang for my buck?
Right.
Oh,
I got
okay. I think I
one.
have two.
Oh, I
let me
got all
check
three
my
of mine.
Oh, then you just go for
Okay.
it.
First. Okay, so obviously Clutch's self-titled record.
Fuck, you can't do that.
Obviously it's going to be both of Shane, it's going to be both on both of ours. Just get over it.
That's fine.
Obviously Clutch's self-titled record for the first one. Second one, I would say, would be No Doy by Mo. Just because anytime I feel like they're a little bit folk and a lot of groove, and he's got some slap. And so I feel like anytime I'd want to like get into the groove bass, I'd be like, oh, I'll just put on Mo. Because that's what I do anyway. And then the third one, I'd probably have to say would be Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not by the Arctic Monkeys, because they do some...
Stop!
Wow, Seth just taking
You stole
everybody.
Quentin's.
That's why I went first. I wanted to cherry pick all the good ones.
Oh, wow.
Just because that album, I don't know, that album is just priceless to me. Just because the way that they compose all the songs on that album is just, it's surprising every time I listen to it.
I value that quality in a band. I do.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And now you've just pissed off everybody else.
All right.
Oh, okay.
I'm just gonna go for it. Like, screw it. I'm gonna go with Clutch. Clutch is self-titled because, my God, is that such a good album. I'm also gonna go with Modest Mouse's Lonesome Crowded West, because I've been listening to that album since middle school, and there's just so much variety in it, and I can't get over, like, I love his lisp. It's amazing. And then probably the Sword Apocryphon.
Oh, good album.
Shit.
I
What?
love how you guys are stealing all of each other's choices.
Why is it
It's
only
great.
3?
I know, because I mean,
Because I'm an asshole, that's why.
Ah,
just the production on that record is great. The songwriting is great. Everything about it is amazing, and that's my favorite Sword record.
P.S. You guys were talking about Spotify playlists. I literally have like 60. Like people just I'm like Spotify playlist dealer, but I have one that's called I have like a series of playlists that are for fans of and that sort of thing. And I have you guys on my for fans of Mastodon, Sleep, and the Sword playlist. So that's
where can I find those playlists on Spotify? What? Okay.
Just look up my name.
Okay.
Honestly, and they're all public, so.
Because I am probably going to follow a bunch of those because that's good.
Yeah, I dump bands I love on all kinds of playlists, so you guys are on that.
If there's for fans of playlists that have local acts too, I'm going to follow that.
Yeah, I don't care how big or small it is. If it sounds like people of that listening area would enjoy it, I'm putting them on there. I don't care.
Nice.
Okay, I think I've got mine.
This is
Okay.
like a test.
So, Stadium Arcadium, Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Ooh.
because
It's a double album.
hey, that's a cheat. I get a shit ton of songs. It's a double album. Also, I feel like the chemistry of the band on that album was just phenomenal, and I love listening to it. Mesmerized by System of a Down, which is kind of surprising for me.
Yeah.
But I really like that album, and I really like all of like the diversity through that album. And then I'm gonna pick a recent one for my third one.
Greenleaf.
Yep, Hear the Rivers by Greenleaf. That album, really, like I said, I wasn't really into Doom, but that album blew me away, and I kind of just dove into it wholeheartedly. So
You know what? I think I actually just heard that band the other day. I was listening to you guys, just kind of mentally, getting it in my brain before this interview, and then I just let Spotify take over and shuffle, and I'm pretty sure that Greenleaf album was in the
We shuffle with
kind of-
Greenleaf now?
Yeah,
I
but
think
only
so.
listen to their latest album because Hear the Rivers is not as good.
What?
Yeah.
Well,
So only listen to the Greenleaf latest album because your favorite album is not as good.
Trails and Passes.
Trails and
Passes is badass, dude. What are you
Dude,
talking
it's
about?
amazing. He just has a problem where he doesn't even want to listen to any other Greenleaf album but their newest because he just assumes this is just the best.
Only
It
listen to
can't
their
be
newest,
these.
'cause
He just won't listen.
I'm right.
He's just done.
Just listen
Like
to
that's
it.
just it. That's all he needs.
hey, you like what you like, okay? So
Yeah.
Just kidding. Trails and Passes is good and Greenleaf's really good. So I don't want to bash that album because it's really good.
yeah.
Joking.
That was all joke. Don't worry.
Those are all good choices, and I really enjoyed hearing you guys mentally fight with each other over. You stole my pick, man.
Because they're just all good.
Well, that's just more proof, though, that you guys are all kind of on the same page with each other. So that's excellent. I think one of my other guests actually had picked "Mesmerized" by System of a Down too. So I really got to start working on this giant infographic because I love hearing when let's say band is like X genre primarily, and then they're like, oh yeah, I want Bach. I want a Bach album as my top one.
Yeah.
I like getting thrown for a loop. So, all right, well,
We'd open for anyone. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I don't care. Anyone wants us to open, Beyonce, we're out here.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll try to make that. I'll try to make that hook up. Bach. Bach rising from the grave.
Oh, that'd be sick.
That'd be badass. Yeah.
That's pretty doom metal. Bach rising
That's
from
gonna
the
be
grave.
on the next album. Fuck
Oh,
it.
there you go.
Write that down.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't have any other questions for you guys, and thanks for putting up with, my power going out and all this other bullshit. So I appreciate that. But I will drop you guys on any Spotify playlist I can think of.
Yeah.
And,
I think it is important though, just for our listeners to remember that Bigfoot is real and he wants to eat your ass. Important.
That is actually very important.
Just coming
words
for
of
it.
wisdom.
And anytime you come to a show, we do want you to get loose and feel comfortable, but never too comfortable. Always look over your shoulder at an Almost Honest show.
Bigfoot's there.
Can confirm. He was at the last show. Okay, well, thank you guys for chatting with me, and thank you for
Thank
spending
you
your
for having us.
Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for having us.
You heard it here. Never turn your back away from Bigfoot at an Almost Honest show. So you can find these guys anywhere you can listen to music, but I did want to point out that some of their URLs are a little bit different. So if you find them on Facebook, they're under Almost Honest Official. Their Bandcamp is almosthonestpa.bandcamp.com. And then they have their own website at www.almosthonestofficial.com. As always, thanks for listening. Watch your ass, Bigfoot's got it.